What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Will Motivation, and today we're talking about how to handle an eviction. Not the most fun thing in the world, but sometimes you got to do it if you're a property owner and you have rental properties. So let's get right down to it. Yo, what's up? It's your boy Will Motivation, and today we're talking about my advice on the #1 way for you to get started investing in real estate. All right, so I just dropped the Lambo off at the toy barn to get it fixed up. There's always something cool in here, man. Check this out. 720 Aventador. I don't know, maybe I need to get me a 720S. What you guys think? I mean, it is the fastest thing out right now. Okay, or one of the fastest things out right now. I should probably, I think I'm gonna supercharge my Huracan before I get one of those, but real nice, real nice. All right, let's say bye to the Lambo. There it is. I'm gonna leave it here. They're gonna take care of it. Had to rewire some things, and should be good to go about a week from now. So no Lambo videos for a week. So why don't we do some other kind of videos? All right, so this is one of those videos where it's a how-to, it's a knowledge video. I'm sharing some insight on, you know, how to handle some business related to rental properties. But a lot of these kind of videos don't always get a lot of clicks. They don't get a lot of hits. So I got to think of creative ways to get people to look at the video so that they can get the knowledge. And I actually thought about saying something like taking a Lamborghini to an eviction or something like that, but I actually thought about driving the Lambo over to deliver the eviction notice, but I think that's a bad idea for a variety of reasons. Might be good for YouTube, but probably bad considering the fact that not every time you have to go through an eviction do the people that are being evicted deserve it. You know what I mean? People sometimes hit hard times, they have situations, and it's one of the most difficult things about being a property owner and having rental properties is that sometimes business is business and people have to get out of your property and they don't leave willingly. You know what I'm saying? And you give them time, and if you give them a month, they'll take a month. And they'll keep taking a month until you actually file the eviction, because otherwise they'll just keep taking advantage of you. So you gotta do what you gotta do. And I have a real actual situation where I have to process an eviction, and figured I would show you guys how you have to do it. So, but no, I don't think I'm going to drive the Lambo over there to post the eviction notice. And normally I don't actually post the eviction notices and file the paperwork, but I've done it before. Normally I get my assistant to post a notice, and I have a lawyer that will file the eviction for like $100, which is well worth it, because I'm pretty busy and time is money. But for you guys, I'm actually going to do all of the steps of the process, and I'm going to record it. So the first part of the process is you actually have to put together your paperwork, and you have to post the eviction. Now, I am not a lawyer, and your rules around eviction could be different from one location to the next, from state to state or city to city. So you have to check your local laws, and that's why it's always good to consult with a lawyer or have a lawyer. And that's, like I said, that's normally what I do. But I have done it myself several times, and the process is not as difficult as people might think. So I'll show you the process that I normally go through, just for educational purposes. But you got to understand, it could be different where you're located. So make sure you check with a lawyer, check the laws in your local city. All right, but I think they're pretty similar from different places. But don't quote me on that. But I'll show you guys what I have to do to file an eviction. Let's do it. What's up? It's your boy Will Motivation, and it's been a couple of days since I started this video, and it's gonna be a couple of days before I finish it. So If you see me changing clothes in this video from scene to scene, it's because this video is from different days, and we're talking about step-by-step process to handle an eviction. So let's start with step number one, which is what I'm actually about to do right now. I'm leaving the office, and I had to print out an eviction notice. So some of you guys might be familiar with this one way or another. You might have seen it in the neighborhood or whatever. Hopefully it didn't happen to you. If it did, I apologize, but don't be bitter about it. It's business, and what you need to do is put yourself in a position to where you're the landlord and you own the land or the property, so you're not getting evicted. But you know, when you start putting other people in your property, you might have to evict them so that you don't lose your property because you can't pay the bills associated with it. And that's why you gotta evict people, you know? Like, cause if I couldn't pay the taxes because I'm not getting any rental income, I could potentially lose my house. Or if I'm not able to pay the mortgage because I'm not getting rental income, I could lose the house to the bank. So that's why you gotta evict people. And now, learning from this, I waited a long time. I gave the person a lot of time to get out of the house because I did not want to evict them, because once you evict somebody, it goes on their record and it makes it more difficult for them to get into another property or to rent another property because they got an eviction. Nobody wants to rent to them. But sometimes you got to do it because people just will not leave unless you evict them or force them out. So I waited longer trying to be nice, and I can't wait any longer because I felt I've been nice enough. But really what you should do, what I recommend, as soon as they are late, a day late with their rent payment, you start the eviction process, because people will take advantage of you. And every time I've had to evict somebody, they took advantage of my niceness and, you know, never paid. So really and truly, you should get them out as soon as possible. Don't be like me. So anyway, step number one is to print out an eviction notice, and then take that eviction notice and post it on the front door and garage if you have to, so that the person can see it, and then let them know that you posted it so they know they're getting evicted. And that 3-day notice, they got 3 days to get out of the property or pay up. And if they don't pay up or leave the property within 3 days, then you can go ahead and file for the eviction. And where I'm located in Ohio, and in my particular county, I'm in Franklin County in Ohio, when you file for the eviction, it takes less than a month for you to get a hearing. And then you can potentially get somebody out of your property with the sheriff's involvement and everything within a month. So it doesn't take that long to get somebody out, which is a good thing where I live. But I heard in other places it can take a lot longer. So you guys write in the comment if you know any of how long it takes to evict in different states where you're at. But anyway, that's step number one, is print out your eviction notice and post it. So I got the notice right there. I got the tape. I got the painter's tape because I'm gonna post it on the door, and then I'm gonna notify the tenant that it's posted, and they got 3 days to get out or pay up, or I'm filing the eviction. And the bad thing about that eviction, like I said, it's gonna go on their record, and it's gonna be harder for them to rent out a property. So it is what it is. Your business is one of the worst parts of being a landlord, but it's business. You gotta handle your business. So now after this, the second step is going to be, once you post that eviction, after you give them that 3 days, then on that 4th day, you can go and file for the actual eviction downtown, wherever that your county court office is. You can actually go there and file the paperwork for the eviction. And the paperwork is actually really simple, but you want to get it and see it before you actually file, so you can gather the required documents. And in my case, the documents are pretty simple. You just got to have a copy of the 3-day notice that you posted. You got to have the information on the people that are in your property, and and you got to fill out that form and submit that form with the copies of your 3-day notice and the copies of that eviction complaint form, and you got to pay $130, and that will, and then you can file for your eviction downtown, and then you'll get a court date in the mail, and so will the tenant, and then you got to show up in court, and we'll talk about those details later because we're still on step number 1. But like another thing to pay attention to is if you're a limited liability company like an LLC, which I have an LLC for my properties, that actually my LLC owns the properties. The court recommends or actually requires that you have a lawyer file your eviction paperwork, but I have actually done it without a lawyer several times, and if the tenant doesn't say anything or complain, usually the court won't say anything either. They just want to get you in and out. And like when you go to an eviction hearing, they're actually real fast. Like it ain't a whole lot of talking. Like I've been to about 3 or 4 of them, and by that time I'm usually kind of mad, so I'm not really feeling sorry for people because I'm mad that they made me go through this process to go down there without just getting out on their own. They could have just got out. We wouldn't have to go through that, but they make me go through it. So by the time I get down there, I'm a little upset, so I'm not thinking about how they feel at that point. But usually what happens is people go and they're like, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to get, and they try to explain their case to the judge, but the judge ain't trying to hear that. Like, you either pay or you get out, you know what I'm saying? And luckily there's not a whole lot of playing around. They don't have a lot of time, because like that eviction hearing, there'll probably be 150 people in there lined up to go through their eviction cases, and so the judge is only giving you like a minute. You go up there in front of everybody, and you got like a minute, and usually I don't have to say anything. I got all my paperwork. They might ask for some paperwork, but that's it. And it's funny because every time I've gone there, my tenants show up for some reason, like they gonna argue or something, but they never argue. They just show up, and then they get told they're gonna have to get out or get that money together. And a lot of times they'll try to say, I just need a little more time to get the money, and then the judge will be like, do you want to give them any more time? I'll be like, nope. Or we could, do you want to even talk about it? Nope. And yeah, that's what it is. So anyway, I'm going over there to post this notice. This is step 1 about the eviction process. Hopefully this is kind of informative for you future landlords or you current landlords and real estate owners. This is the process you got to go through. It sucks, but part of doing business. It doesn't suck when you get them checks on time, though, right? All right, holla back. Now, if there's anybody that's watching this video that has been evicted before, please do not take offense to this. This is business. Business is business. I don't wish an eviction on anyone, and I feel for anyone that has had to go through it. But what I always like to tell people, if you're renting a property or in any situation, you should always have some money saved up for a rainy day. So, if you need a place to live, you need to have some money saved up to pay your rent several months in advance, so you don't get in a situation where you're putting other people at risk of losing their property or having bad credit because you don't have your stuff in order. All right, so I just want to get that out of the way. This is nothing personal, but this is business. So let me show you guys what you got to do. Okay, so I'm going to try to quickly show you the steps that you have to take to file for an eviction, and basically what the process is. Where I'm located in Columbus, Ohio. So it might be slightly different from city to city or state to state how you do an eviction, but the steps should be similar. So what you have to do is you have to go down to your local municipality where they handle like the clerk of courts for your county where the property is located. And you basically have to get this form, and this form is called the eviction filing process, and it should give you the instructions for filing for the eviction. So I went right down to my county, here in Franklin County in Columbus, Ohio. I got this form, and I pulled up all the paperwork for an eviction that I successfully did by myself for a tenant that basically just stopped paying for whatever reason. Was an interesting the way that worked out. But anyway, this form tells you what you need. So the first thing you need is a copy of the notice to leave the premise that you served. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. It's basically when you post a notice on the property so that the person, when they go into the house or they come outside the house, they see that eviction notice, right? That's the famous eviction notice. A lot of people put it on bright colored paper and that kind of thing. I don't really do that. I just put it on white paper and I tape it to the front door. And I'll show you what I'll show you what mine looks like. But you gotta take that notice to the property and put it on the front door, and then you gotta give the person 3 days to move out or to pay up. And if they don't move out or pay up, then you go down and you get this form and you fill it out and you show them a copy of that notice. Then you got to fill out an eviction complaint, which is a legal form or legal document. So basically what I did is I researched that form. I got a sample of that form that somebody else filed in my county, and then I edited it with the details of my specific case, and then I submitted that, and they were fine with it, and I'll show you what it looks like. And then that eviction complaint, which is the form that I'm talking about, you got to have the name of the defendant, which is the tenants that are currently in the property, the address for the property, where they got served, and it tells you the details of, it's got to be real clear, the address. And then 2 additional copies of that eviction complaint, which is that legal document. So basically 3 copies of that eviction complaint. For each of the, or basically two copies of the eviction complaint for each defendant that you're evicting. So usually it's just one person that's on the lease, maybe 2, and you got to have copies for each one of those people that you're trying to get out of the property. Usually, to be honest with you, when I did it before, they weren't super like sticklers about all of these details. They're kind of, in my county, they're pretty high level with it, and they're easier to work with because they know the bottom line is there's a whole lot of evictions to process and they got to get through stuff quickly. And so if the tenant and the landlord aren't beefing about everything or fighting over stuff and then lawyers involved and stuff, then stuff usually goes pretty quick. So anyway, and then there's a filing fee that you got to pay to the court to process the eviction. And in my case, it was $130. And then they'll schedule the eviction notice or hearing for the eviction 14 to 21 days from you filing this eviction. So I got to go through that process again right now. You can't get legal advice from the people that work there. And in my case, in this current situation that I'm in, I'm going to actually have a lawyer file this. I was going to do a video running downtown and filing this paperwork, but it would have been good for YouTube, but I'm showing you what you got to do right here. And I'm going to have a lawyer do it because I have too many other things to do. So I'm trying to, do a bunch of stuff at the same time. But anyway, let me show you what that notice to leave the premise looks like. All right. All right. So here's what my sample notice to leave the premise looks like. This is the form that I fill out and I take it to the house where I'm doing the eviction and I post it on the door. And it basically has, you put the tenant name, the address of the property, tell them that they need to leave, you tell them what property, the details, what you're talking about, the reasons why they got to leave, they didn't pay rent and broke the lease agreement based on that. And basically you give them a time period, which is like 3 days after you serve them to pay up or take action or get out, right? And then you got to sign it. You put your name, your address related to you being a person that served them. Then you put the date on there because the court's going to need this, and then you sign it and print your name. And then you print out at least 3 copies of this. You put 1 copy on the door. You give another copy to the court for every person that you're evicting in that house. So this is what the 3-day notice looks like that I use. This is what the actual eviction complaint looks like that you file in the court. This is a legal document. Usually a lawyer will draft this up and fill in the details and then submit it for you, but you can do it yourself. And in this case, I did do it myself. So you basically list yourself as a plaintiff, business name, you know, your name, whatever, tenant's name, address where you're doing the eviction. You leave this case number, judge stuff blank, and then you list the complaint. Now, I don't want to go into the details of what I listed here because I basically found this document or I bought like a sample packet for doing eviction and I changed it up. And so you might want to do the research in your county for what will work. And then maybe as a part of my real estate course that I'm working on, I'll just give you guys these documents. And if they work in your city or state, you can just use them and change them for yourself. But I can't really give the document here on YouTube. And I haven't really had time to really clean it up. But I'll eventually do that, and I'll put it as a part of my online course. But anyway, this is what it looks like. You got to basically tell them what happened, the reason why you're filing for the eviction, basically saying that the tenant didn't pay their rent or pay their bills or whatever, and you want the property back. You sign it. And then you give them copies of this as a part of the eviction filing. All right. Now, once you submit this and you file this and you paid $130, you'll get a receipt like this. And basically, it's a basic receipt, and it says, you know, you filed the eviction complaint, and then within like 3 weeks or so in my area, you'll get a mailing that looks like this. There it is. So about probably about a week later, the tenant got this mailing saying, come to court to talk about this eviction. And I also got a copy of this mailing saying, come to court and talk about the eviction. And then basically you get your date when you go to court, you get your court number, whatever. They tell you where to show up. You go there. And it's pretty simple. Like I have copies of everything, like proof that the person didn't pay. I had copies of the emails that they sent acknowledging the fact that they didn't pay or whatever. I just built up my case and to show the courts, like, here's what's going on. And I really didn't even have to show any of that stuff, but I gave it to the judge anyway. And the tenants, for some reason, they always show up. And it's pretty simple. The judge asked them, do they have anything to say about it? Is this true? And they let them understand that they have to move out, usually pretty quick. They got like 10 days or something like that. And that's pretty much it. Like they don't usually listen to sob stories. They will ask if the tenant wants more time from the landlord. Sometimes the judge will say, do you want to give them more time? And then you always got to say no, not no. You basically got to say no because, or else you'll have to file eviction again. So you just got to say no. Basically gave them enough time. And that's it. That's how you file the eviction. If you got any questions, leave me a question in the comment. But let's go do some more fun stuff. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for watching today's video. There's a lot more to come. Hit that like button for me and subscribe to my channel. A lot of you guys have been asking me about when is my online course going to be ready. Well, I have good news for you. My online course is completed. I'll put a link in the description of this video where you can click on that link and get a 40% discount off the course. That'll be for the first 50 students. So if you're ready to take the online course that I've basically laid out everything that I know about how to invest in real estate, click the link below or just go to www.willmotivation.com/invest. And thank you guys for taking the time out to watch today's video. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.